Okay, so welcome to our first lesson. What is the first lesson about? Well, today we talk about a very important and very neat topic, writing. We have the ultimate FCE writing guide. Remember, for the FCE, we have the essays, the articles, reviews, reports, or emails. There's one that is mandatory, and that's the essay. Okay, so we all have to go through that. But on the second part of the writing process, well, the writing exam or evaluation, you can choose between an article, a review, report, or an email. Yes, so we'll see that today. Now, to continue, we need to get some ideas here. First, what is the length? Yeah, sometimes people ask, okay, so is it long? How long is it? The two pieces of writing, they last for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, 1 hour and 20 minutes, the two parts. So what you can do is simple math. Just cut them in minutes. Yep, so you can do, if it's 1 hour and 20 minutes, then I would suggest you to do 40 minutes for one and 40 minutes for the other. Okay, so that will give you the hour and 20 minutes. Okay, so what is part one? The essay, compulsory. You have two ideas they give you, and then you have an extra idea that is empty, and you can provide it. You know, you can give this essay a little bit of you. Obviously, you have to follow the instruction, which are the two ideas, but the third one is yours. Now, what do you have to practice for the essay? Well, you must practice using language functions, which is grammar. Use as able, such as, you know, present simple, present continuous, past perfect, you name it. How you can express your opinion. Also create hypotheses. Now, justifying, persuading people, convince them when you have to give your opinion or present all the topics in the essay. How many questions are in part one? Only one, which is mandatory or compulsory. The length. Remember, you have to write between 140 to 190 words. Now, if you want to know if you can pass this 190 bar, yes, you can do that with 5%. So until 200 words, that's the limit. Now, this is another question that I usually have. Why do we have to go to only 190 words? Why not any? We can do more, yes? And that's okay. But the problem is, before grading your essays or your article, your letter, anything, the Cambridge group, they will be in charge of all the previous detail. What is that? They're a group of people who are counting the words that you have submitted. If you pass the 200 words, then they grade you as failed, because this is a very important part of the instruction. You cannot pass that. So if you do that, then let me tell you, the Cambridge specialist will not even read it. Okay, there's another person before him or her checking your essay. This other assistant will be counting your words, and if you pass the limit, they will not give this essay to the examiner. So be careful on that. Part two, of course, we have to choose between an article, or if not the article, the email or the letter, or if not, the report and a review. So that's your choice. But today we're not talking about that, because every person is different. Maybe, I don't know, JC is about writing emails and he's really good on that. Or maybe Sam is good with reviews, or Pamela probably is really good at writing an article. Okay, but that depends on the style, the type of writer you are, or you feel you are. What I always suggest is, do not go with the email or the letter, because as you think, well, this is easy and I think I can do it, many people have the same, or they have the same idea as you. So imagine if you write an email and the examiner is about to check your email, he goes, an email again? Oh, come on, another one? What's going on? And they will not judge you with the same value as if it were, I don't know, report or maybe a review. So take that in consideration, okay? So what do you have to practice for the writing? Writing different types of text styles. Maybe you read some essays or articles from other candidates, some examples, get an idea. At the beginning of this class, I was talking to one of you about these past 5 days, these 5 days that just passed. And he told me that he was practicing the guitar, especially with covers. And I agreed with him that this is a very important way to go ahead by, you know, getting some examples, practicing with them, and then you can master it and then create your own. So this is a very important thing. Read essays from other students or maybe from teachers. And that way you know how to structure it and follow that lead. How many questions are there? Well, we know 2. The first one is important, which is the essay. You cannot go around it. You have to do it. And then the second one is a choice of 3. So remember the length, that's pretty much what we have. For today, we start talking about part number 1, which is the essays. And if we have any time, which probably is the case, we will talk about the articles. But today's also next class will be all about writing. We will cover articles, reviews, reports, letters, and emails. I will tell you guys about the introduction, how to say it, how to state it, a sample task. You will see an essay, how it's written, the parts and everything. A second task with a little more level, I would say. And the third task with a really high level, which is what we would like to accomplish. And the useful expressions, I think you will like it, because in this chapter, in this topic, you will have the tools that are important for you to write a perfect essay. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to the first part. Here's the essay. Remember, an essay is a writing piece which you are asked to discuss or maybe to explain something. Usually it starts with, in your English classes, I don't know, your teacher has been talking about an issue. Let's write an essay about it. Yeah, this could be controversial or maybe irrelevant to some topic, but it usually follows a class discussion, okay? What type of language do we include for the essay? Well, the language should be formal. Also, make sure that you can justify all your ideas. You have the thesis of your essay. You have examples, data, anything that you can support your point. And the appropriate connectors, linkers, you know, contrast words, etc., to make the sentences and paragraphs more understandable and in a way professional. How do we structure this essay? When writing an essay, you can choose whether to give it a title or not. So it's not mandatory if you start with a title. Most students choose the question of the essay as a title. But if you want to, you can modify it with a name or just a, you know, title, or you can omit it. It's not mandatory. This could be the same question, like I said, you know? But yeah, that's how you structure it. You first start with title or no title. And then there are 5 paragraphs you must include. The first and the last, which we call the introductory paragraph and the conclusion, they are very important, because if you think about this, the beginning of a masterpiece has to be engaging, must to be interesting. The ending part as well, because that's how you wrap things up, how you conclude, okay, some content. You must be very smart by writing the beginning at the end and also the end. Now, the 3 paragraphs in between, they are called the body of the essay or the content. The first and second idea that is provided for you to complete in the essay are paragraphs number 2 and paragraph number 3. Remember this, a paragraph is the home of an idea. You cannot mix different ideas in one paragraph. Only one paragraph is for one idea. And then the 4th paragraph, which is the 3rd idea, is one paragraph of your own. You have the chance to put your signature in this essay. Very important. Okay, so giving your opinion. Most people say, teacher, how about if I give my opinion at the beginning? Would that be good? Well, it's not common, but you can express it at the beginning. But usually they tend to be at the end. Okay. Now, what are the common topics? Through all Cambridge exams, you have different topics such as environment, health and condition, work, employment, friendship, nature, money, celebrities, etc. So don't practice just one topic. It could be any topic that is there, and you cannot choose from. There's only one, and you have to stick through to it. So let's just think that, okay? Open-minded all the time. Okay, so here's how we will start our first lesson. Writing part one, the essays. Sample task. Like I said, everything will be as a setup from a class, from an English class. Here it says, let me see, maybe I would have Jasmine. Jasmine, please, could you read the instruction here?
Okay. Sample task 1. In your English class, you have been talking about different ways in which you can protect the environment. Now, your English teacher has asked you to write an essay. Write an essay using all the notes and give reasons for your point of view.
Thank you. So, Jasmine, here we know that there's a preview. Why do you think we have the preview here? In your English class, your English teacher has asked you to write an essay about environment and blah, blah, blah. Why do you think this is important here?
Because they want the young people to have a very conscientized about what's going on in the world.
Of course. And that's very important. You need to put yourself in this task. Just make sure that you have all the ideas about what's going on in the world now with environment, and also to put yourself in this scenario. Just imagine you are in class and Mr. Montes has been talking about environmental issues and how we can protect them. And now you just imagine that you are in class. Thank you. Now, this is very important. You have to write the essay with all the notes. Here are the notes, people. Number 1, recycle. You must talk about recycle. Using bicycles and walking. Well, but that's a positive thing, right? Instead of driving cars or contributing with pollution, you can use bicycles or even walking. That's good. And the third, idea of your own. So here's the question for the essay. What can people do to help protect the environment? Let me ask Samantha. Samantha, I have a question for you. Here's the question of the essay and the 2 notes and the space so you can include your own idea. What do you do first? Do you start writing, or how do you approach this essay? Samantha, are you there? Uh-oh, I guess her microphone is not working. Yes, just yet. Let me ask then Nazaret. Nazaret, how do you start writing an essay? Do you read the question, the notes, and you jump into writing? Or is there any other process that you start with?
No, I'm talking about the theme at the first, like an introduction, and say something like, we know about the problem that we are being through.
Okay, so you start with an introduction. How could you introduce, or how you present this writing? Do you try to do brainstorming or a mind map? How do you start?
Brainstorming, maybe.
Okay, brainstorming. Okay, so everything that is related to this topic, you take notes, right? You write down a list, positive, negative, about recycle. What recycled things can you include in your notes?
Maybe use secondhand shop, use secondhand clothes, use the empty bottles to do other things, use the notebooks that you don't use in your classes anymore, and use them for, I don't know, do another thing like draw or make origami.
Thank you. That's really nice. So you do the brainstorming. Okay, thanks. Let's just stop right there for a moment. This is very important what Jasmine and Nazaret said. Before writing it, we must start with something that we could say the introduction or the first step. Let's change it so we don't get any confusions with the paragraphs, because we have the introduction, which is the first paragraph. Let's call it the steps for writing an essay, the steps, okay? So the first step is what we call brainstorming. It's very important because in the moment you listen to the question, what can people do to help protect the environment? Ideas come to your head. Maybe something from a magazine that you read, or maybe from the movie, or from the radio show, or radio talk, or podcast, you name it. And you start receiving all this message in your head. It's not magical. We watched content, and we save it and storage this content in our brain and for later use. And this is the moment in which we open these, I don't know, drawers, and we retrieve, we connect the ideas, we receive the ideas from there. That's part of us. Thank you. Now, what could be the second step in before jumping to the writing? Let's think about that. We had already prepared our brainstorm, a list of what we include in recycle, using bicycles and walking, of your own idea, of course. Okay, you create your own idea. Maybe my idea could be about donation. I donate to people what I have in order for them not to buy more things, or maybe I can help with an option to pick up plastic, recycle, etc., and then take it to a place where they recycle the plastic, and I obtain money, and the money I use it for charity events, etc. Okay, whatever the topic you choose or the idea you choose in number 3, you include it in the brainstorm. Okay, so now what happens after the brainstorm? Let me ask Andres.
I think after brainstorming, you need to organize your ideas. For example, what idea I am going to put in the second paragraph, or what idea I am going to put in the third paragraph. And you have to think what is allowed your, or how you are going to defend your ideas to be more clearly.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Andres. That's great. Now we have to organize our ideas, because if we don't have a plan, if we do not organize, then everything will be a mess. What do I mean by a mess? For example, maybe I have a plan, yes, but as I'm writing everything, okay, and then I decide to include something extra, then another thing, and I'm not respecting myself as a writer. If I'm a writer and I pretend to be a writer for this essay, and I just add more things as I go along, I'm underway with the writing process, I'm disrespecting myself as a writer because I'm not following a plan. What Andres said is very important, is crucial. Yes, you must have a plan. Okay, so to organize our ideas, what options do we have in order to create this plan? Okay, we need to get some ideas, maybe 1 or 2. Let me ask Annette.
Teacher, sorry, could you repeat the
Yes.
question, please?
Yes, Annette. If we have to organize these ideas from the brainstorm, how do you organize everything so you can see it here and then write from there to follow the lead?
You could sustain or sustain your ideas.
Yes, okay, but that's part of the process per se. What I want to know is, how do I prepare? How do I prepare a plan? For example, if I want to build a house, right? I need to hire an architect, and this architect will put on a paper the design, and then the workers will come and build the house. So how do we call that paper drawing of the plan?
Uh, how do you say it?
Uh-huh.
I,
But you know
I
what I
don't
mean.
remember.
You know what I mean, right? And then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a paper thing that you can plan everything. Let me ask.
Like, yeah.
It's okay. Let me ask Samantha. Samantha, I think you have the microphone now. Sam, are you there?
Teacher?
Aha. Okay. So, how do you put all these brainstorm into a plan to follow? What do you use?
First I organize, like, for example, first they are asking me for talk about recycle, so I organize it
Mhm.
in the way they want me to talk about it.
Of course, but you can have that in your brain because you have this practice, these hours of writing. But
Mm-hmm.
if we talk about a person who's starting fresh, it's it's the first time doing it. How do you do that before doing the draft? What is it? Because somebody, Angie said the draft. How do I put this on paper? Maybe the drawing. How do you call those drawings with arrows to put the ideas together?
I don't know.
It's okay, guys. Let's go quickly. Mind map. This is very important, right? You need to create a mind map. So in a mind map, you can put the title, for example, environment. And then with an arrow, you can move to the first topic, which is recycle. And you can put in there everything you talk about the recycle. And if not, introduction, number 1, paragraph 1. How do you start your introduction, etc., etc. So this is very important. Organize your ideas in a mind map. Do it. It doesn't take more than a minute. It's really quick. After the mind map, we can go with what Angie Sandoval says, a draft. We can create an example, right, of what our 5-paragraph essay will look, but that's after the mind map. Okay, so that's how we organize our ideas. Now, let's continue with the third step. Okay, so let's recap. First, brainstorming the ideas we have to write this essay. Okay, we have secondhand clothing, plastic, old paper, etc. Yeah. Now we organize these ideas with extra words or connectors in a mind map, and then from the mind map we put them into a draft. Okay. So what is the step number 3? What do we do next? Let me ask JC. What do you think is next?
Well, you start writing what's the name of the principal idea, the main idea?
So here we talk about writing process, right? We talk about the writing process. Like you said, we have to write about the main idea, okay? Now, how do you do that? Let me ask this question to you, JC. When you have to compose any music or song, anything, okay, not to be specific, do you do it immediately, paying attention to each note or the rhythm or I don't know, the words for the lyrics, or do you just create the music and then later edit it and change it? How do you do that process? Tell me.
No, I have to take care of each part. I start very slowly, but if I keep an eye on each detail, but I always have an order. I do not compose the song in this order.
Yes, of
I
course.
always
You must have an order.
start. Yes, it's on obvious, but I start from the beginning.
Yes, of course, very important. Now, JC, this is very important, and I'm translating it from something that you feel passionate about, which is important, yes, into writing process. You need to start writing slowly, because sometimes people say, no, let's just write it really quickly, blah, 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 blah. But no, just take your time, let the ideas come to you, and put them into a paper or into a Word editor. Okay. Then you have to follow an order. Don't go to the ending part of your opinion. Start structuring from the introduction to the first stop, first note, the point, the second point, and the third point. All right. But then what else? What is next? Let me continue with that. Thank you, JC. That was really good. Nazaret says, the composes the melody and then the lyrics. Yes, exactly. Everything is in order. You do one thing and then you continue with the next. But I also think that it's very important that you do not stress yourself. Maybe I'm not a musician, but if I say, oh, I have to do this one right now, I have to compose the best music piece of the life of everything, I will stress myself. And if I'm writing and I say, well, I'm worried because I'm not good at grammar, I'm not good at following punctuation marks, and that will stress myself. So this is very important. Yes, write freely. Freely, which means not stress. Don't think about making any mistake. Don't think about, oh, I have to stop to put capital letter. No, just write it. Don't worry about grammar mistakes. It doesn't matter, because if you stop your process, your writing process, to think about a correction you have to make, you probably will lose the idea or the inspiration of what you were writing in that moment. So this is very important. In the writing process, you must write freely. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about punctuation, about capitalization. No, just write freely. Thank you, JC, and thank you, Nazaret. I think we have a good foundation here. Now, these are the steps, very important to cover, but we must continue with the fourth step. Okay, so think about this, guys. You are almost there. You had the brainstorming, you did your organization, the mind map and the draft. Then you start writing freely. You start writing slowly, you follow an order, you don't worry about any stops that can stress you out and block your inspiration. Okay, you know that. Now, what could be the fourth step? Let me ask Pamela. Pamela, tell me, what is next?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, Pamela.
To finish the essay.
Okay.
Or,
The ending part. Let's talk about that as the ending part. Okay. So what do we include in the ending part? Because you have already your plan. You have it from the plan. You move to the draft, and you start writing freely. You have everything, but it's a mess. You know it's a mess because you haven't checked grammar. You haven't checked punctuation. It's a mess. But the essence, what you need is there, right? So what do you do in the ending part?
you write like a conclusion of all.
Okay, but in your conclusion, you know that before writing the conclusion, everything is not checked. You must revise, you must check for mistakes and grammars. How do we call that?
The
For
review. The
yeah,
review.
we can review. Perfect. I like that. Review the content. Review everything you wrote. Maybe you missed a point. Maybe you made a mistake, or the classic, you overpassed the word limit. You have to count. So you review the content and correct, right? And correct, amend, fix things up. Okay. Now, Pamela, I like to play basketball, and I play basketball every single day. Sometimes my session is for 2 hours, but I make it really short when I post my videos of basketball. Out of the 2 hours, I have only 1 minute. Okay, it's not that I'm very bad that I only score 1 minute. No, I score all the time. But how do we call that part in which I have a 2-hour video and I reduce it to only 1 minute for my Instagram. How do you call that? What do I do with the video?
Cut.
Yes,
Cut.
I cut the video, I cut the parts, obviously the ones that I missed. I edited. Thank you, Nazaré
Okay.
sent the information. So now we call the edition process, edition time. I like edition time because it's the moment when I feel that I'm an expert. I become sort of a teacher in which I have to grade my own essay as a student. And I check, no, this is not good. I didn't like this. This was a grammar mistake. Oh, it was obvious what happened to this student. I criticize myself. That is the best way to do it, because you can find the mistakes and you can edit them. You can make them better. All right. Thank you, Pamela. That was really nice. So far, we have 5 steps for writing the best essay of our lives, which is really good. I like that. I'm very proud at this point. Thank you. But I have a 5th step, the last step. No more, guys. I guarantee it. Just 5 steps. So what could be this final step? Andrea Villanueva, tell me. How do we conclude these steps in order to create the best essay? What's step number 5?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, Andrea.
I think that with the conclusions, maybe.
Okay, so this is how you conclude your essay. But how about if you are editing everything by hand, you know, you make some crossouts, or maybe you add an extra word, or maybe you use some colors on the paper. Can I submit it? Can I hand it in? No, right?
Yes. Oh, no.
No, of course not. Imagine this. You are preparing some cinnamon rolls, okay? And you have made the best cinnamon rolls ever, okay? And the buyer, the potential buyer, is knocking on your door. And he's ready to take the rolls. He's going to pay you, I don't know, 20 soles per each roll. Do you give him the rolls like that? I mean, out of the oven, or do you put them into a nice box, you know, with some paper wrap and present it? How do you do that?
In a nice box.
Yes. So this is how we call the process of transferring. You must transfer, yeah, transfer the bad into the good. Transfer into a clean paper. So when you transfer, basically, transfer all you have into clean, into clean. Let's just call it into clean. Basically, check all the problems, all the mistakes, everything that you mended, that you corrected, into a clean paper, and then you can submit it. So this is the last step. Nothing more to include, just to transfer all the information here. Yes, and you make the good presentation, of course. Thanks, Nazaret. Thank you, Andrea. That was really good. Okay. If you guys are so kind and can help me out, please take a screenshot of this page with these 5 steps, which are very important, and send them over to the WhatsApp group. Okay, so later on, I will comment them. I will comment this picture. Thank you. All right, now moving on. I will show you, okay, an example, a very easy example, answering this question. What can people do to help protect the environment? Okay, you don't have to write anything now. Just see, just enjoy this class, and here we go. On the next page, I have for you a sample answer, okay, for what we just had. Remember, protecting the environment is the title that is provided here, but it's not mandatory. So you can have the title, or you just can use this essay without the title. Doesn't matter. So here we go. I need to check first the introduction. Maybe a person can read it so I can enjoy it and ask a question, a very important question. Okay, the next person to read is, let's go with Andres. Andres, please read the introduction.
One of the things that worries people most nowadays is the environment. In the last few decades, humans have been polluting way too much, which has had a negative effect on the environment. For this reason, we must protect it from now on.
Thank you. Guys, what we had, it's a very nice introduction. How do I know it's nice? Well, because it has topics that we all know. As a reader, when I read this first paragraph, I find it that this is very common. One of the things that worries people most nowadays is the environment. We are all concerned. That's why we don't buy plastic bags, or we do not accept shopping bags that are made of plastic when we go shopping. And we protect the environment by recycling our plastic. Okay, so this is how I am engaged as a reader. The introduction paragraph must be entertaining, interesting, engaging. If it's not like that, believe me, the reader will not like to continue reading. Or if he does or she does, then it would not be with the same enthusiasm or with the same passion to find out more. Okay. Now, at the end of this paragraph, we have, for this reason, we must protect it from now on. This is a sort of a warning, something that tells me, okay, what continues must be really good. So here we go. The second step is the first note, which is the recycling. Remember, here we talk about the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Okay. The second idea that was presented there talks about cycling and walking. So it's here in the third paragraph. Now remember what I said. Each paragraph is the home of an idea. You never mix them both. They should be in a paragraph. Very important. Now, the third paragraph, remember that section where it was empty? Okay, this is the moment in which you can put your personal touch. You can talk about your own idea. But why do I mention this? Sometimes candidates or students, they feel stressed out about this fourth paragraph, which is the third idea. They don't have any idea or any clue of what to include here. Don't see it as a punishment. See it as a blessing, something that it gives you the chance, right, to portray, to let the world know about you, what ideas you have, that you're brilliant because you are. Yeah. All right. So this is very important. This is what we call the body. And the last paragraph is the conclusion. Well, 2-line conclusion, well, I think it's just good. Okay. Let's hear JC talking about the first note on recycle. Please, JC, read the second paragraph.
Okay. First, we ought to start paying attention to the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. By doing so, we will reduce the quantity of rubbish. We will not throw away so many things, and we will be able to recycle most of our waste.
Thank you. Thank you, JC. Guys, these 3 lines in this paragraph, it doesn't contain data, information, facts. No, I mean, their facts are there, yes, the reduce, reuse, and recycle, but it's not complex. It's easy. It's something that everybody knows. But if you read it here, you remember the importance of it. So you don't need to be an expert to write an essay, but as long as everything is organized, it's good for the reader. Here's how this person starts the paragraph, talking about first, sequencing words. You can say first, firstly, to begin with. It depends on you, but I have to be honest. I will never use first or firstly, because that says a lot about the range of vocabulary that I have. Other options, yes, of course I have other options, right, to include there. Once is, like I said, in the first case, or to start, to begin with, or I don't know, let's cover the first one, the first topic, not just to say first. But still, it works. I think it works. This is really good. Thank you. Now, for the third paragraph, let's hear Nazaret. Nazaret, read the third paragraph, please.
Second, a very good idea is to stop using cars so much and start cycling or walking a little more. For example, instead of commuting by car, we can try to do it on foot or by bike.
Of course. Thank you. Again, you can use second or other expression to continue, which has more length, but it's still okay. Here you present the second note, which is cycling, and you give the reasons. It's a very good idea to stop using cars so much and start cycling or walking. For example, and you present an alternative. So it's not just about pointing fingers at. You are to blame, you're the person who created this pollution thing. No, you can also create solutions and you can bring them in here. It's not just a paragraph talking about this problem, but also, like I said, including a solution. For example, instead of commuting by car, commuting is when you go from your home to the job and backwards, right? So that's called commuting, the travel time, the distances between your house and your work and back forth. We can try to do it on foot or by bike. Very good. Thank you. The last part of the body, which is the third idea, the idea of your own, will be read by Anel.
Yeah. Finally, if we really want to change things, we should teach young pupils about the dangers of contamination and pollution. It's the only way to change the future because they are the future citizens of the world.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Anel. Here we include that the note is teaching. Create awareness on people, especially the pupils, the students, right? The young students. So, because they are the future of this world as citizens when they grow up. But now, everything so far was good in the previous paragraphs. This one, it continues with a formal register. Remember, this is an essay and it should be formal. One important thing about essays is that the register is not informal. How do I know this text is informal? When I see something particular that just happened in this third idea, finally. Who can identify it? Let me repeat. The essay was good so far until this paragraph in which you see some particular thing that we must omit when writing an essay. What is it, please? Aha, we have an idea here. No, no. Pupils, yeah, they are young, but also we have old pupils too. But yeah, remember, the term pupils refers to students from schools that are not higher education schools, such as universities or colleges. For example, high school or primary school, yes, those are pupils. Now, think about this. In this paragraph, yes, we have a construction. Yes, thank you, Angie Sandoval. The contraction here. The moment you include a contraction, this essay becomes something informal, maybe an email to your best friend. You're sending this essay or you're writing this essay for your teacher. In that case, it's formal. Okay, it's an adult, it's a person with more knowledge, etc., with lots of respect, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we should omit using contractions. Okay, thank you. So just keep that in mind. Not contraction, that's a big no-no. And the conclusion, easy. In conclusion, I believe that if we do these three things, we can still prevent humans from destroying the environment. Okay, it's okay to say in conclusion, but there are other versions, right? Remember, you probably feel that you are starting writing essays, that this is not something that you master. Of course, it will take some time. but that's why we are here. We're practicing, we're seeing examples in order to grow. There are more expressions that we can use instead of in conclusion. We can say, to sum up, to conclude with my essay with this topic, I don't know, to make matters short, or to summarize instead of in conclusion, because we know it's the conclusion part. But yeah, anyway, I thought the essay was good. If I have to grade it, remember there are 4 categories in which you are graded or you are evaluated on these essays. Okay, first one is the content. If all these 5 paragraphs, they fulfill the purpose, the information about the environment, then you have 5 points. Each of those 4 categories, they are worth 5 points. In total is 20. Okay, the second category is the communicative achievement, which means that the message was delivered. If I understood everything from you. When I don't understand something, it's probably because there's some grammar mistake or punctuation mark that it blocked my speech, my reading, yes, or the organization, maybe I mixed the ideas. I don't know, the first was in the second, and then the second and the first, etc. So that's very important, yeah. You will have 5 points if the message was delivered. So if I understood, as a reader, I understood everything you wrote here. Okay, the third category is what we call the organization. If you started, like JC said, you must follow an order. The first part, the second, the conclusion at the end, not jumping or setting the conclusion first. Okay, so everything should be well organized. And each paragraph as well, how you present the topic of the paragraph, you present it in the middle, and how you conclude it or give a result at the end. So that's the organization. If you have it all clear, 5 points. Okay, so far we have 15. And the last one is the language category, in which you are evaluated on grammar mistakes, punctuation marks, capitalizations, or maybe you omitted a word or you included an extra word. Yeah? So you have to be careful on that. So this is an essay. This is how it looks. This is how it should be. A basic essay, just a basic one. Now I'm going to show you another version, okay, with this second task. Let me see, maybe, Angie, can you read please the instruction?
In your English class, you have been talking about work in your country. Now, your English teacher has asked you to write an essay. Write an essay using all the notes and giving reasons for your point of view.
Perfect, thank you. It's very familiar to the previous one. All these questions about essays or instructions on essays are the same. You're setting yourself up in this classroom where your teacher has been talking about work in your country, yeah, work in your country. So you have to write the essay on this question. Here's the question. Which is more important, to earn a high salary, to get more money at your job, or to enjoy doing your job, to feel happy working? What is more important, to make more money or to feel happy? What am I doing here? I'm reading the question and I think about the question. It's the same as I'm teaching a younger kid. I imagine I have my own version in a little guy. So I have Mr. Montes, the mini version, and I tell him, look, this is what you have to do, Jonathan. Which is more important? To have lots of money working, so a job that pays you more, or to have fun at your job? Maybe enjoy the environment with the co-workers and feel happy about it. What do you think is better? My young version would say, oh, to have fun, of course, not money. And my current version would say, of course, I need more money. So the high salary one. Yeah. So it depends on that. Now that you understood the question, you must think about what's your opinion on this. Most people would say earn high salary. Yes. Others would say enjoy it, have the pleasure of your work. but that depends on how you approach it. Here are the notes. First one, the type of work. You must talk about, is it a manual work? It's maybe something about knowledge, or is it a product or as a service? Okay, you decide what type of work you're going to talk about. Second note, the time you spend working. Is it a 9-to-5 job, full-time job, it's a part-time job, or if it's just the weekend, it's a long distance, etc., etc. And then the third, your own idea. Maybe I could talk about the benefits of this work. Maybe I have more experience, so I can upgrade into a better job position. Or maybe I can talk about the benefits of this job, that I have discounts, right? Or as I don't know, a member of the staff, I have a discount, or I have social benefits for my family, etc., etc. So you can include the idea that you want to. Okay, so remember, there are 5 steps for writing the essay. Okay, first is the brainstorm. The second is the organization, the planning. The third is writing freely. Then the addition, and finally the transfer. You transfer everything into clean paper. Okay, so we're going to see now the sample essay here. A very quick difference that I see for the previous one is the length, the content of each paragraph. The introduction has almost 3 lines, right? The first note or point has, yeah, almost there, a little more, the 3 lines. Then the second idea, still 3 lines. The last one goes to only 2. Okay, only 2, which is a little sad. Let me tell you why. Well, maybe I can ask you why. Jasmine, why do you think the third idea is sad? Why do I say that this is sad? I have the first idea, 3 lines, the second idea, 3 lines, but then the idea of the writer, only 2 lines. Why is it sad?
Maybe because he doesn't have space for the other words. I don't know.
Yeah, probably he was fighting against time, right?
Yeah.
The clock was ticking, and he had to finish this task. Another thing, maybe he was exceeding the word limits, right? He was overpassing the 190, and he said, "Oh no, I can't include nothing." But then he could move some lines from another paragraph to include it here. Which paragraph would you suggest to reduce in order to include an extra line in this one?
Maybe the introduction.
The introduction was very long, right?
Yeah, and the second and third paragraph.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I think I agree with you on the first introduction. It was too dense, and I had too much. This is something that happens regularly. People start writing more about the introduction because they heard Mr. Montes saying, the introduction must be engaging, introduction must be interesting, and they want to include. And sometimes more is not more, less is more. Okay, now what I would do is the same thing. Take some words here out of this, so the introduction could be only 2. And then 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines, and at the end 2. Because the introduction and also the conclusion should not be more than the body. Because the body has the content, it's everything you have to express, and you cannot reduce your words. But now guys, also I consider the third idea sad because it's your moment to shine bright like a star, right? How can you how can you shine like a bright star you are if you include only 1 line or just 2 lines in this paragraph that is meant to be you know, important here? So I don't know. I think that, yeah, that's why I say this is sad. But anyway, it looks better than the previous one. So let's read it and get some ideas here. Now, on this part of the lesson, we're going to read this essay, and then exchange opinions, or maybe say what we could do differently in order to make it better. Okay, let's start with Nazaret. Nazaret, please read all the essay, and we will listen and pay attention to you. The rest of you, please pay attention to Nazaret's reading and try to get some ideas to make better, to improve this essay. Please.
The whole text?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Nowadays, people find it difficult to find a suitable job. Some people think the salary is too low, while others may have a good salary but do not like what they do. However, there are other things to consider too. Firstly, we must think about how long we work for. If we work for long hours, the salary should be good. However, maybe the most important thing if we work a lot is to enjoy our job. Otherwise, we will get tired quickly. On the other hand, the type of work is also important. For instance, if we do a job we like but it's dangerous, the salary should be good. If we are not paid generously, maybe it's not worth risking our life. Finally, we should also take into account holiday periods. If our job has few holiday periods during the year, maybe we can accept a higher salary in exchange. On the whole, I am of the opinion that in order to be happy, the salary is less important than enjoying the job. However, it is difficult to be happy working for peanuts.
Thank you. Guys, as I can see this essay, it has a good message, it has good ideas, it has a good example, and balance. Okay, it's balanced because it shows you the pros and cons. And also because at the end, I like how this writer finishes. It says, however, it is difficult to be happy working for peanuts. This obviously is an idiom that says that you're working hard to make less money. So it's difficult to be happy working for peanuts, to make only enough, which is for well, not what you need, but barely making what you need to do, you need to pay for. So anyway, I like that part. You can include these, what we call expressions or idioms or phrases, in your last line for your conclusion, and also in the introduction too. Other writers choose to start the introduction with a joke, or maybe with a story, and also with an engaging question that keep the reader alert. And this is very important too. So I like that too. Okay, let's get some opinions. Let's see, Andres. What do you think about the introduction? Do you give it a solid 5? Or as a teacher, would you say it's a 4 or 3? What's your opinion?
Well, I think that it's too long because in some parts for example, in introduction, the writer used however, but in all the text he used however, and I start to get like more. But maybe we can cut. Some people think the salary is too low, and in that part because in the text he is or she is saying that, or he or she is talking about that Hillary's salary is not important, but it's more important to you have to enjoy your work. I don't know.
It's great.
I think
it's great.
Some people.
Andres, I like your opinion, and that's why I thought about you when I said I have to give these extra lessons to my students because I need them to grow. I need them to think, to have this potential. And I thought about you because you have these ideas, and those are great. But sometimes you just say those words and you say maybe, but don't say maybe because you have them. Those are great ideas. Look, I didn't think about however, and you are correct. Look, you use however here, and also I see it somewhere here. So the repetition is terrible, especially on writing. We must omit that. There are other ways to say something that is a contrast. Despite, in spite of, however, nonetheless, nevertheless. And we covered that on our last lesson, I remember in school. And I like that. So repetition, it's a problem, as is also when you copy, just repeat the same word all the time, or you take the ideas from another person. That's when you have to paraphrase. An important thing about paraphrasing is that you can use the same words from a text or from a person and then think about the content and then forget about that text where you read it or you heard it and use your own words to explain it. And when this happens, the reader will not find however all the time. Look, you see however in the first paragraph and the second paragraph. I think I see it in the last one too. Oh, right here. So this is very important. Thank you. Thank you, Andres. Can I have another opinion on this essay? Maybe from Jasmine?
I think it's great essay, but because he knows how to, for example, the last part is like very interesting. You notice that he or she knows English.
Okay. So it's portraying a good use of vocabulary, except for the however,
Yes.
right? The however thing. But it's still, it is important that if we try to look professional, like if I could use the word, if I can use this word, using repetition, redundancy, that will kill all of our effort. I think it's very important to be careful on that. So if you could have a to-do list when you're writing an essay, put on your list, repetition is a killer. If you are repeating the same words in other paragraphs, or even in the same paragraphs, it tells the examiner that you're nervous and you don't have another range of vocabulary or another option to continue. Thank you, Jasmine. All right, now, again, in this task, I can see that the register is not formal. I think I saw a contraction, but I don't recall where. Somewhere here maybe, or I am crazy, I don't know. But I thought I read it.
Teacher, it's in the third paragraph.
The third paragraph.
Yeah, in the last sentence.
Oh, here it is. Yes, yes, it's not. So remember, also add it to your to-do list. Repetition number one, and the second, the register is formal. Never, do not use contractions, never. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to the third one, the third essay task. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay, so same instruction as before. In your English class, your teacher, blah, 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 about friendships. Okay, now you have to do this. Write an essay using all the notes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the question. What should we do to make and keep friends? This is a very common topic, friendship, right? Sometimes you have good friends, sometimes you have bad friends, and you can also lose some of them on the way. Maybe because you find a person, I don't know, a special one, and then one thing leads to another, and you erase all your friends from your contacts, basically, literally. Yeah, that sometimes happens, but that's not good. You should always keep, or make good friends. So here are the notes. Being honest. I think this is a very important quality when we talk about friendship, right? I don't like to have friends that are dishonest, who always tells me, I don't know, this person that is my best friend, he's not supposed to tell me, you're the best, or you're doing this good, or doing that the right way, when it's not true. I need the person to be honest. That's why I consider him or her my best friend, or my friend. Second idea, keeping in touch. Well, now it's even harder because of the social distancing, but it's important to keep in touch. A call, maybe a message, an email, a post on social media, I don't know. But this is important for the relationship to stay alive. Yeah, that's important. So what I'm doing again here is getting more ideas as I read. I can also write them down in my brainstorm. But if I have a level in which I feel more comfortable by talking to myself and getting the ideas in my head and warming up, you can also do that. Okay, the third idea, maybe I can talk about, I don't know, my own experience with my best friend. Or maybe I can talk about something that happened with the loss of a friend. Dishonesty, maybe they were not loyal, I don't know. Some episode I can include that also here. But yeah, so that depends on you, on what would you like to include. And after you completed this note, you start with the 5 steps now. Brainstorming, the free writing, etc., etc. Okay, let's take a look. Here is the sample one, and the title is Making and Keeping Friends. Now we will have the pleasure to listen to Samantha. Samantha, please read the essay.
Making and keeping friends. After family members, friends are the most important people in our lives. So we can all agree that making and keeping friends is essential. But what can we do to make friends and not lose them? First of all, whenever we make a new friend, we must be honest and always tell the truth. It is not advisable to lie to your new friends because if they find out, you will lose them. Another important aspect is keeping in touch. Calling and meeting your friends regularly is the only way of keeping a friendship alive. However, this can be difficult if they live far, so texting is another acceptable alternative. Finally, helping your friends when they need you is also an essential part of any friendship. As a result, your friends will value you and your friendship will become stronger. To sum up, I should say that honesty and keeping in touch are very good ways of supporting your friends. However, the best thing you can do is not to love them and help them whenever they need you.
Aha, it's not to love or to love them. I
To
think it's
love them, yeah.
all right. Thank you, Samantha. So I'm paying attention to you, eh? So don't think that I'm not. I am paying attention. Guys, this is a very good essay, huh? It looks good. Out of the 3, I see this guy as a potential 20 points in the score. But let's get some ideas. JC, what's your opinion on this third essay?
Well, first of all, I think that this is a more personal, easy. I don't know how to say. Well, do it. I'm sure that it doesn't apply to everybody, but it it has brought up interesting tips in this thing of making friends and this.
So were you
but
captivated by this essay for everything you said here? That is common.
What?
Let me repeat the question. Do you feel captivated by this essay?
Yes, I don't know it's the most interesting essay among the 3, but it's a nice one.
Maybe,
I really like it.
Maybe because of the topic is familiar to you?
Yes. That's what, yes, that's what I referred in the beginning. It's the idea of the essay is not so general. It's like for certain people.
Mhm. Like for everyone, even youngsters or adults. Like in my case, I read this one and I feel I can you know, love, or I can appreciate more my friends that I do now than I do. But what I mean is, when you have to write an essay, and if you're lucky enough to have a question like this one, and you feel confident enough to write it and make it beautiful, why not think positively about other topics? Just imagine that you are an expert on those other questions. Sometimes we're not that lucky to get this question, which is very easy and it's really nice. But if we have a positive attitude, we can make it work. And that's also important. Thank you, JC. That was really good. Uh, how about Nazaret? Nazaret, anything that you would like to change from this essay?
I don't know. I think that the conclusion is first of all, I don't think that third paragraph is essential. I don't think, as my opinion, but I think that if it was my essay, maybe I'm going to change it. But for another thing, because I think that keeping in touch is not very important, because we as a individual person think and feel different things, and I'm in my personal experience, I can't be the whole day or all the days maybe calling my friends and saying that I love them, but one call at a week, or I don't know. I'm kind of nervous because it's the first class, but
It's okay. You're doing good.
I
You're
was
doing good.
wanting to share that. I don't know.
No, but that's great, because that's the idea of creating this essay, making it personal. You write what you know, you present your ideas, and like I said, you shine. You know, you make everybody understand your point of view. But this is the perspective of another person, and this is how they wrote. When they talk about keeping in touch, so they say that it's important because sometimes you can lose the friends if they say, well, I always call my friend in every occasion, any occasion that they need me, and I'm there. But when it's my birthday, they forgot about it, and I will not have this person as my friend anymore. Maybe
So,
that experience.
I want to ask something. If in this text, for example, I could share something of my own experience. For example, a friendship I have since I was, I don't know, 2 years or something like that.
Of course.
Or that could be too personal. I don't know.
No, it's okay. It's all good. Now, another thing that I always advise is, if you feel that it's too personal, they will not really care. The examiner will not judge you if you're telling the truth or not. The idea is to evaluate how good you are in communicating or writing text. And presenting an essay, it's good because you can let everybody know about an important topic that they don't know. And writing in a cohesive, in a coherent way, with well structured and organized, it's what is important here. It's evaluated. It's not about who's Nazaret, or whose friends are best for her, or how friends should behave. No, what matters here is to follow the instruction, follow the lead, and complete the essay. But I appreciate the information that you provided, and I respect that too. Thank you. I think it's also important that everybody should have their own space and time, not to be too much, not too sweet. That's also irritating at times. Okay, now finally, let's ask Andres. Andres, is there anything that you would like to remove from this essay?
No, I think that this essay is okay.
Wonderful. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's good. The body, the length, the instruction, the introduction here, three lines. The first, the second, and third idea. Well, the second one has more content, but it's okay. And the ending part. I thought that was brilliant. However, the best thing you can do is to love them and help them whenever they need you. That's important too. No, it doesn't matter if you are constantly calling them, but to be there when they need you. Okay, so with that, I think we have concluded with the samples of essays, because I can ask you to write millions of essays and I will always grade them and say, no, you need this, you need that. But if I don't show you examples, how can you learn that, right? It's very important to follow a lead and see an example, what it looks like, and then create something better than this. Because life is this occasion in which you see something that is beautiful, something that is good, something that works out for a person, and you can apply it to yourself and make it better. You always can put an extra addition or something from you to make things better than they are. All right. Here are the useful expressions that I think you will like them. When you have to write an essay and you're short in words and you don't know how to start, this can come handy. For example, instead of first, second, and third, one of the things that I like is blah, 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 blah. In the last few decades, or the last month, or whatever, and blah, 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 blah. Or for this reason, I believe blah, 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 blah. You can also say, like I said, the sequencing words, first, second, third, finally, to conclude. By doing so, for example, or for instance, in conclusion, these are the words that we saw in the first essay. Yes, very good, very basic. Now, in the second essay, in the sample number 2, the level was increasing a little. We have not now, but nowadays, in actual times, however, other versions of however, in spite of, nevertheless, nonetheless. Okay. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, instead of first, second, and third, we go with adverbs. On the other hand, otherwise, for instance, instead of for example, you could use for example, but let's say that if you have already used this one in the previous paragraph, do not repeat it. Do not repeat it. Just go with a counterpart here, for instance. Finally, to conclude, take into account, right, keep in mind, on the whole, at the end, I am of the opinion that blah, 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 or in order to do this, do that, in order to succeed in working, blah, 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 blah. Okay, for the third paragraph, we got, we can all agree that friendship is important, blah, blah, blah. First of all, let me say that this is this or that. Well, first of all, I will include blah, 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 blah. It is not advisable to, it's not okay, it's not advisable, it's not recommendable to blah, 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 blah. However, instead of but, however, to go for a contrast, despite of, in as much, on the contrary. Finally, as a result, or to sum up, to conclude, to sum up as a result. More useful expressions and linking devices that you can use are when you talk about the positive and the negative of a topic, or maybe on the same paragraph. On the one hand, comma, this is important because these, that, or those. On the other hand, for a contrast, it's better to use this, this, or that. You can use nevertheless, even so. Here, even though, we know that one, however, in spite of, despite, remember the commas in middle or the beginning or the end of the paragraph. You can review that on unit 5, no, unit 6 of the student's book. But the conjugation but, although, because of this or because of that, therefore, to conclude, it is therefore important for blah, 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 or thus, as a result of this, as a result of that, for this reason or for that reason, consequently, or as a consequence. This is my favorite one, as a consequence. It's very similar to Spanish and it's formal and I like it. Again, there's no other reason but I like it. I think it's really important. Yes, Andrea, I will send this PDF. I have it as a PDF and I send it to the group. You can use it. Yeah, no problem. When you have to provide examples, you can use such as instead of like this or like that. For example, instead of, for example, like I said before, for instance, this is a good counter word. For instance, like, the classic like. When you have to give someone else's opinions, it's not your own, but the opinion of another person. Some people say that the best friendship is kept in long distance. I don't know. Many experts claim to have the idea of that blah, 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 blah. According to Mr. Montes, my English teacher, friendship is virtue, something like that. It is said that friends are counted by the fingers at hand, on your right hand, only few. It is believed that blah, 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 blah. It is a fact that, be careful on this one. If you start your argument using it is a fact that, you have to make sure that everybody understands that this is true. It's not just a fact in your own world. It's a fact that blah, blah, blah. It's a fact that Peru is in South America, for example. Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. The truth and the matter. The truth is that blah, 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 blah. Now, when you have to conclude, you have the last paragraph of your essay, concluding it. In conclusion, comma, I am of the opinion that friendship is worth more than a call. It's better to be in the exact moment. It doesn't matter how many shots I take in a game. What matters is the last one, when I kill the other team. Okay, so that's just on me. On the whole, when you talk about the total thing, I would say that, instead of to sum up, on the whole, this is a really nice use. It's a really nice option to use. In my view, in my perspective, in my point of view, in my opinion, the way I see it, it works like this. The way I see it, friendship is a virtue. To sum up, to conclude, if you ask me, I would say that, blah, blah, blah. Or to sum up, if you ask me, I know this is this or that is that. All right, so that is everything about essays. And moving on to writing part number 2, the articles. I will let you read this document. Next class, we will prepare some articles of our own, because the essays, we have already some practice hours with those, yes. But next class, we will continue with this. And I'm sharing this document with you guys. Yes, I can do that. I can do that quickly. So just give me a second. Everybody in the meeting. If you want to also, you can check this one in our WhatsApp group. Okay, I'm sending it now. Yeah, it's sent. Please check your chat box. And it's there. Okay, I'm also going to send it right now to the WhatsApp group we have. Yeah, I think we can call it a day. That's it for the class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be talking to you guys on Monday, back into our regular classes in school. Okay, so have a good weekend and enjoy.
Teacher, thanks.
Thank you.
Teacher.
Bye, teacher. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
See you Monday.
I'll see you on Monday. Bye, everybody.